Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Infantry Pulse, and today we're going to be going through the top 5 infantry archers in Fire Emblem Heroes. So this is kind of an interesting class type because it has multiple colors. So there are green, red, blue, and colorless bows. We're going to be covering all of them in this one video. So regardless of what color they are, these are the top 5 archers in my opinion. Now we've already done the melee units, we have done the mages as well, so this is one of our later chunks of this series. So today we're doing bows. On Saturday I'll be back to do daggers, and then on Sunday I'll be doing infantry staves as well. Without further ado, let's get into our pick for number 5.
Swords, lances, bows, whatever the weapon, I'm ready.
So first up we have Shamir. And Shamir is a very, very good unit in player hands especially. She has essentially a fire sweep bow effect in her weapon, as well as some extra stats and all kinds of great things that make her a very, very strong unit. I do say she's best in player hands though, because she does really, really, really want to be solo in order to achieve her maximum potential. So I have her as an Earth Season build right here, and the reason why you're going to see a lot of these archers coming up in Earth Season is because Legendary Claude has a great deal of damage reduction, and archers' gimmick is that they are able to cut through damage reduction with their Deadeye specials. So this is a green dual infantry Shamir. I think she does very, very well in this role actually, by being able to she has a great deal of base stats to begin with, so she doesn't really super need all the extra stats from her A slot in order to succeed in Arena. She is a good user of null follow-up, especially with that fire sweep effect though. She can dish out a very, very large amount of damage and outspeed a good deal of opponents, especially in the Arena meta as it stands right now.
A king must not show any weakness. To be a ruler is to be without flaw.
Next up we have our newest archer, who is young Ignis. So young Ignis has kind of the Deadeye effect built into his bow where he cuts through damage reduction, but he also has a mini Woe Dao effect and some extra stats and slang, all good things in my opinion for an infantry pulse unit to have on defense. Now you could run him on a non-infantry pulse team with something like Times Pulse, and then either Glimmer, Moonbow, Ruptured Sky, those low cooldown specials, those kind of things. You could also run something like Luna and Special Spiral. So he has lots of options, but what he wants to do is he wants to be able to fire off that special to get a lot of damage out. Now I have him built up here as a sturdy impact unit to be a single hit nuke with an Ignis. And I am currently using this exact build, except I have attack speed form or attack defense form instead of attack defense bond, but either one is great on my anima defense, and it's already doing very, very well. I'm very happy with how Ignis is performing. He's a very, very strong unit for an infantry pulse defense. I've heard people talk about using him on offense as well. I think it can be good, but I think you are safer sticking with a Pelagian bow or a Spendthrift bow Norn. She it has very good defensive stats, and she's easier to stack up in that fashion. Obviously, either one is going to perform super, super well. That's just my opinion. I think Ignis's place is on Aether Raid's defense rather than on Aether Raid's offense, or even something like Arena. Just because 175 BST is okay, it's good, but you have to take a super boon to get there, and you can still outscore it with a dual skill that's going to score 180 for you. So overall though, a very, very strong unit, a very powerful nuke, very comparable in a lot of ways to OG Lysithea in terms of strength and usage.
A world where people live and thrive based on their own efforts, not the whims of the gods.
At number 3, we have Legendary Alm. So here you have a Legendary Alm built up for Arena. So he is running Deadeye instead of Lunar Flash. Lunar Flash is a very strong special. It's kind of a mini Regnal Astra combined with a mini Moonbow. But in Earth Season right now, Claude is very, very scary to deal with. So I think that Deadeye is a good option for Legendary Alm to have. You can even run something like Times Pulse in his C slot if you have someone to pulse him down, those kind of things. Those are all options. But here I've just kind of had Deadeye as like a secondary kind of afterthought effect, and given him the more standard just cutting through enemy armor kind of niche that he has as an archer. So his bow, Luna Arc, actually adds damage to his attacks based on the opponent's defense. So it kind of has, you know, like on-hit moonbow effect, kind of, sort of. Mini moonbow, obviously. But it is armor piercing, so that's his whole gimmick. He's very good at that also. I think he is able to dish out a lot of damage, and having good speed and relatively, you know, good stats across the board, he is actually a very strong unit that can live a lot of engagements. His res is maybe a little bit on the low side, but if you can avoid getting hit by a mage, or even just maybe taking one hit on a mage and then sniping them down, he can be very, very strong.
A single arrow right between the eyes? Who else could make a shot like that?
So coming in at number 2, we have the CEO of racism himself, Shinon. So problematic as he may be, he is a very, very good character in Fire Emblem Heroes. So whenever he is solo, he gets a bunch of extra stats. He gets 5 to everything, as well as a close counter effect. So he doesn't have to run close counter in the A slot. There's also a slaying weapon that he has, so he can run something like Noontime and get healing off on every single hit he hits the opponent with, which is, or not every single hit, but on his first retaliation, he can fire off that Noontime and get that healing, which is really, really great for him. I have shown 2 solo skills to stack up his res. Any combination of the solo skills I think is the best. Taking a dual stance skill is good, not great in my opinion, because he's going to outspeed most of his opponents anyway, so them charging up their specials is kind of unlikely, unless they have something like a brave weapon or something like that. But overall, I would say that his strength is having that super high speed stat. With this build right here, he's hitting, what is that, 68 speed, so that's very, very fast, especially into defense units that have a much harder time stacking up their speed. I think he performs very, very well on Astra, which is the harder of the 2 seasons right now. He also performs very well on Light, as most units do, but being able to be a carry in Astra is very strong, and I think that Shinon does a super good job of being able to tank through most of the units in the metagame right now. Moving on to our honorable mentions. So first up is our boy George. And I'm a big George fan. I have a +10 George myself. And I think his best function is as an Aether Raids defense unit. He can also perform pretty well in Arena as a support unit, as well as, you know, he's pretty good at everything in the arena. But I think that his strongest niche is on AR defense. So his bow gives his allies +5 attack, so it is a better drive attack, and it also inflicts -5 attack on any opponent within 2 spaces. And that's not just in combat with George, that's any opponent within 2 spaces. So anyone that's trying to snipe your backline or whatever, they get that -5 attack. It makes George a pretty good frontliner. He also has very balanced stats overall. His speed is a little bit suffering, but you can always stack up his speed if that's a build you're going for. Personally, I have opted for a strong and tough George that will have a pre-charged Deadeye on an infantry pulse team. And Deadeye is good because it cuts through opponents' defenses. I think his niche in that aspect, in terms of being a Deadeye user, has been replaced by Young Ignis, but you can always run something like Ignis or Bonfire in his special if you just want him to be a really strong nuke that also supports the team. Next we have Eleonora, and Eleonora is another good Aether Raids defense unit in my opinion. She's also great for PvE, but I think her strong suit is truly gonna be on Aether Raids defense. Right here you see a null follow-up Deadeye set. You can also run her as a Flashing Blade, Blazing Wind kind of set. Either way, but her whole gimmick is that she has a fire sweep bow as long as she meets a speed check. This makes her better on defense than something like Shamir, because it's hard to guarantee that Shamir is going to be solo. So while Shamir is distinctly better in PvE, in Arena, maybe even in Aether Raid's offense, I would argue that Eleonora is better on an Aether Raid's defense set because her condition is typically easier to meet. So you want to stack her speed as much as possible, so you see ARD attack speed and attack speed bond, all these things to ensure that she's able to get those 2 shots off, and make that follow-up attack as well with null follow-up. She's just a very strong unit that's hard to play into for a lot of opponents, and hits very, very hard with that Deadeye special as well. And finally, we have our last honorable mention, Legendary Lucina. So don't be confused by her stats. This is an Aether Raid's defense build rather than an arena build. So this is for Aether Raid's defense during the win season. And that really is, I think, her best niche. I know she can obviously like boost your score in arena or whatever, and you can run something like Blue Dual Infantry on her, but I think she's very, very strong and very threatening on something like Aether Raid's defense. So replacing her bow with something like a Spendthrift bow gives her extra bulk, as well as extra damage output, which is really what she's looking for. So with Wings of Mercy, that I think is her ideal set here. What happens is if an ally gets into Wings of Mercy range, then she can fly in with Wings of Mercy and then use Future Vision to swap places with them and get an extra action and maybe hit an enemy backliner that they wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. So she's really good at chasing down opponents, and even if she doesn't use Wings of Mercy, if you have your slot order right, she's going to have really good chase by her ability to move around the map, especially if you have something like ground orders on her, to move around the map, swap places with an opponent, and then follow down, you know, all of these mythic flyers that are weak to her bow. Having Deadeye pre-charge on an Infantry Pulse team is also very, very strong. Alternatively, if you want her on a non-Infantry Pulse team, you could run something like Moonbow on her to guarantee that she's, not guarantee, but to help her be able to actually fire off attacks. Keep in mind that if you don't run her on an Infantry Pulse team, you're going to need to run a 2 cooldown special. So if you don't run her Infantry Pulse, Deadeye is not really an option because of Spendthrift Bow's anti-cooldown effect and anti-synergy there. But overall, she's very good at chasing down opponents on Aether Raid's defense, and for that, I think she has kind of a unique niche that will be relatively future-proof.
After I performed the awakening, the divine dragon Naga blessed me with her power.
And finally, my pick for the #1 best infantry archer in Fire Emblem Heroes is Legendary Krom. So Krom is very powerful, and here you see the very threatening and often talked about speed Krom. So this Krom, his idea is he's very hard to kill, he's very, very tanky, and also he's hard to double. And because of that, he's going to be able to fire off very powerful attacks and retaliation. He can run Deadeye for score as well, and because he has that preferred weapon, he can run Time's Pulse in his C to help him charge up that Deadeye much, much faster. He's a very scary unit to face, truthfully, and having to change fate is very helpful on arena offense as well. This is a very scary unit to face on arena defense for sure, but overall he just dishes out a ton of damage. He has utility as well with to change fate, and he's hard to kill, and he's super bulky, so he has really everything going for him, and it really makes Legendary Krom, in my opinion, one of the best units in the game, truly. Just super well-rounded overall, and can do so many things so well. And with that, that is the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think I got right, what you think I got wrong. Have a discussion about it down there. Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoy the content. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like I said before, I am actually moving tomorrow, so I'm not able to make a video. But on Saturday, I'll be putting out the Dagger Infantry video, and then on Sunday, I'll be making the Staff Infantry video. So we'll be going through all of these ranged units in the next couple days here. So be prepared for that. Make sure to come back and watch all those videos. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye!